Hello and welcome to another episode of What to Pick. This is the video series where I go over a few different starting hands and explain what I would pick and why. And we will have a colonies starting hand later in the video on BGA, but first off we have a prelude, base game plus prelude starting hand here with Vitor and Thorgate as corp choices, and I'd say 95% of cases Vitor is better. Let's pick that for now. If we have a good eccentric sponsor card, then we'll take that. The rest doesn't look too great. I guess on Tharsis, self-sufficient settlement is okay for builder and mayor. Let's see. Could be a mayor route with Immigrant City as well. And Lava Tube. Now, like, restricted area is great, really good card. Decomposers is also keep, especially with Vitor. Lagrange is also keep with Vitor, and house printing, usually not a great development card in the early game, but with Vitor it's significantly better, so I also keep that. And then you can really think about whether or not you wanna take the two cities and shoot for mayor, because there's no eccentric sponsor card here. So we cannot really say, let's not take self-sufficient settlement and go for IO research outpost, because even if we say we take IO research outpost, we can't take eccentric sponsor, and loan, you can just safely ignore that prelude. It's really, really bad. I hate it. So it's probably just these two, and I'm not too happy with that. But if we're taking self-sufficient settlement and we're playing on Tharsis, then we could at least have the option to go for mayor. Probably I'd pick D7. And then first of all play restricted area on Escrius. Take a card, see what it is. Draw once. And if I'm not like super satisfied, if I don't have like a clear direction in where I want to go, then I just play house printing and call it a day for Gen 1. Reassess after Gen 2 draft, and then maybe go for mayor with like GSM into immigrant and lava tube. Not amazing, not an amazing game plan, but it's all right. If you say you don't want to go for mayor, which is completely fine, then I just not keep any of these and just rely on restricted area card draw, which is probably also fine. You also have Lagrange if you want to find cards really quickly, but I guess you can still just go into Gen 1 by just playing restricted and house printing, and that's it. We can quickly talk about the other cards. Local heat trapping is a great card, but I wouldn't pick this up in Gen 1, especially if you don't have any heat prod. Power infrastructure, really niche card. We don't have any significant power production for this to be worth it. And then bribe committee. If you go with only these four, you can think about picking it as a development option, but it's not amazing, so I'd probably skip it. So it's, in my opinion, it's either these four or you also pick these three. And yeah, there's no reason to play Thorgate here. Vitor is just much better. You have a few cards in your opening hand that you already want to play, and with Vitor they become really good. And then on preludes, it's just basically it's a no decision pick on these two. You just can't pick eccentric, and lone is just atrocious. So yeah, I'd probably go with these 7, but completely justified to skip these 3. Let me know in the comments what you would have done here. I guess many people would just go with these 4, and that's completely fine. But let's get to the next hand and see what we get there. Well, what we get in hand number 2 is a really interesting decision between Valley Trust and Pharmacy Union. You all know that Valley Trust is my favorite corp. Pharmacy Union can be also really interesting to play. It can be also really frustrating if you don't get to flip your corp immediately, basically. Then you can get wrecked by your ability, causing you to lose 4 MC in the worst possible points in time. I think Valley Trust is generically better, so let's pick it for now and see what we get. We get 2 atrocious preludes and 2 great ones, especially on Elysium where we're playing. Experimental Forest is amazing. You place it on Olympus Mons and you draw 5 cards. Also, it's a green tag for Ecologist, and it draws 2 more green tags for Ecologist. So really, really good. Aquifer Turbines, not as strong on Elysium, because the oceans are generally not as strong. And on Hellas, at least, it grants 2 power prot for Energizer. But still a really good prelude, and these 2 are just ass. But what do we get? Well, we get Arctic Algae, which is an amazing card to build a strategy around. Tardigrades is a safe keep here for Ecologist. That's the 2nd green tag. Obviously, you're keeping Olympus Conference, and with that and the Valley Trust discount, you might as well keep Adaption tag as well. Investment Loan. You can sometimes skip this in the starting hand just because the opportunity cost of picking it up is quite high. But it doesn't look like we have that much to do here in the starting hand, so I think we can definitely take it. I think we don't need to over commit here on too many cards because we will draw quite a few with Experimental Forest on the 3 card spot, which we are guaranteed to get because we're first player. So I wouldn't bother with AMC, hoping to get Titanium Prot with our 3rd prelude as Valley Trust. And without AMC, there's no reason to keep Wife. Crash Site Cleanup can be great to draw in the mid game, but it's not something I would pay the opportunity cost on in the starting hand. Stratopolis is just really bad, and Local Heat Trapping, I just explained why I wouldn't keep that in the starting hand in our last hand. We have a 0 science tags. That's a lie, actually. What am I talking about? We have Olympus and Adaption tags, so actually you could also play this as a Pharmacy Union game, because you start off with 2 disease resources on the corp. You basically need 3 to immediately flip your corp. 3 science tags. You draw 1 with Pharmacy Union, so we'd have 3, but the one we draw could be anything. It could be AGT, and then you can't play it Gen 1, and you can't flip your corp, and then it gets risky. And if you can't play that card that you draw, then you also cannot really play Tardigrades, because that would then give you another disease resource. I think it's too risky here, and Valley Trust is quite nice. We also have a payoff on science with the discount. I think I'd just pick Valley Trust. It's generically better. I'd stick with the 2 good preludes, obviously. And yeah, because it's a Valley Trust hand, I think we just see what we get as our 3rd prelude. Jesus. All right, we do Experimental Forest first because we know what we want to do with that one. Then we take a look what we got. All right, the 2 plant tags we got were Ecozone, which is one of the best you can get. And then we got Venus Soils, which is probably the worst you can get. But that's fine. On average, it's okay. We have Dome Crater, Cloud Seeding, and Comet from the 3 cards we drew. Again, 2 quite okay cards. Comet's pretty good. Dome Crater is okay, and Cloud Seeding is a bit bad, but it's alright. So what do we do with this information? I don't really think we need to draw another card with the ocean we now have to place. Do we have a tile to teleport? Yeah, we have domed. All right, I think we just put the turbines on one of these 2 spots, and then the plan is to put domed here, because we will now have 2 plants domed here will give us another 6, and that will be a conversion. We won't do that Gen 1, but we want to have the option, I think. So let's put that there. Let the AI do their thing. We can safely ignore that. All right, and then what prelude do we get? See, that's why you don't gamble on AMC. Obviously, hindsight is, yeah. I think I'd just take Allied Bank here. We now have definitely enough to play with all that stuff we got on hand. Allied Bank could even make it possible to get domed down. We just need 2 more MC. We could sell Venus Souls and Cloud Seeding now. Then hope he doesn't have plant destruction. He probably won't destroy our plants because we're just at 2. And then we can get domed down, place it here and convert. We have the power prod from what's it called? Jesus Christ, Aquifer Turbines. So I think that's what I'd do. Sell. I probably wouldn't play investment loan. I would just sell Venus Soils and Cloud Seeding, play domed, convert. That's it. I think that's a pretty good start. But yeah, so that was hand number 2. Let's see what hand number 3 has in store for us. And again, that will be on BGA with colonies. All right, last hand of today. It's a colony start. And the corps aren't too great. It's UNMI versus Helion. Both do not excel in colonies games because, well, UNMI, first of all, is a corp with which you want to heavily terraform. And the deck with colonies has less terraforming cards in it, less like heat and plant producers and less space events. Harder to terraform consistently. Also pretty poor. Doesn't get to easily like put a lot of colonies down at the start. Helion has a bit of stuff going for it here. With like carbonate processing and then also heat trappers, making sure that you're the one increasing the heat. We have really good late game space events, point dumps, but we have almost nothing to do Gen 1. Looking at this is kind of depressing. Also, you can see this is a real game. Real turn-based game. We're kind of at a loss here. We're playing on Hellas, by the way. It's clear to me that we're going Helion. This is atrocious for UNMI. It's also clear to me that we're keeping Cryo Sleep and Conscription. Those are 2 great cards. I guess with this super slow start, we're keeping both of these. We could like just play Photosynthesis Gen 1 and then Gen 2 we can play Cryosleep and trade with that. That means Carbonate can't be played Gen 1. It would need to follow a Heat Trappers, so we don't end up with just 1 power prod. Noctis City also consideration. Freely placeable on this map. That's quite good. Jesus. And then we have Mangrove to think about. So, like, the cards on this hand are good. There are a lot of good cards, but not a lot that you can play early. Probably would take Mangrove here as well. But one more thing is the preludes. These are bad. Colonies games are long, so I think it's Galilean mining and self-sufficient settlement over biosphere support. Definitely not society support. And now what would I do Gen 1? So if I take all of these, that's 9 freaking cards, plus another -5 from Gallinian mining here. That means we end up like 9 is 27, 32. That means we only have 10 money left and can't play photosynthesis. That means we need to skip a card here. Out of all of these, I'd say we skip Mangrove. Because I'd skip a late game card. Maybe Noctis, actually. Yeah, probably it's Noctis. It doesn't look like we have a lot of plant prod early on. There's also not the colony tile Ganymede is also not in place, so yeah, probably Noctis. I wanted to say we probably skip a late game card, which doesn't do a lot for us in the early game. And yeah, Mangrove would have been one of those, and I think it's weaker than these two. This way we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 24 plus 5. That's 29 in cost. We end up with 13 MC left. Enough to play Photosynthesis Gen 1. Then Gen 2 you follow that up with Cryosleep, and suddenly you can trade for 2 power. And that you can use to trade to Luna Gen 2. And then you'll try to get a colony on Luna as fast as possible. Just SP1 if you don't find a card for it. Trade with that regularly to get MC. I think that's what I would do here. Literally no way of playing UNMI here. If the opponent immediately, like if the opponent plays a card, plays a prelude that grants him heat prod, Mohole Excavation or Mohole, then we can also delay photosynthesis for Gen and play heat trappers into Carbonate. Gives us good development and completely breaks this early game. But if he doesn't do that, we're first player. We need to play first, so probably just go with photosynthesis. And where would I put self-sufficient settlement? Honestly, without plant prod, probably not up north. I'd probably put it on this spot, get a bit of money back. Actually, if I put the city here, we could use that heat to keep one more card. But I'd say let's not stretch ourselves too thin. We don't necessarily need Noctis. I think everything else is more important. You could also make an argument for skipping Conscription. We don't have any Earth tags yet. But it's a really good card. Difficult. Maybe we skip both. Maybe we just skip both. Because we have photosynthesis, cryosleep, and then possibly heat trappers carbonate to get down. And we want to get a colony on Luna quite soon. So probably, yeah, now I've talked myself into it. Let's skip both of them. Let's go with these cards. Go with Galilean and self-sufficient settlement. Yeah, I think this is the right way to go about this. And put the city here in the bottom 2 rows on the 2 heat, such that if you find mining area, you can put it on the titanium. You can later decide to get something down on the South Pole to get the bonus ocean, or you can convert on the card or something. I think this is a pretty good spot, especially for Helion. But yeah, it's an interesting start. I think the Cryosleep kind of saves it because it will allow us to trade early on. And yeah, if the opponent develops heat prod with the prelude, he's going to suffer. And even if he develops heat prod in Gen 1 or 2 after we've passed, we can still play heat trappers Gen 2 or Gen 3, and he's going to suffer. This card is just I think this one is a hate card I like to gamble on my starting hand. It's just so strong. But yeah, this was the last hand for today. Definitely let me know in the comments what you would have decided for these starting hands. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys, and goodbye.